Hello, welcome to Dissident Canada. My name is Tyler. And today I just want to rip on politicians and wondering where, the old school generational fighters used to be. Like, let's say prior to, I guess, the first Bush administration, you could think of like some really good guys who got elected to office and were pretty slick operators, to be fair. Not the best, but I don't think you want to be the best political operator because you're usually, by the time you hone those skills to be the best, you're just an awful, awful human being. I mean, like, it's the truth. There's no one that plays at that level and is a good person, which, it sucks because I look at, you know, the people who are getting screwed the most, just average everyday people, and there's like nobody really sticking up for them who's elected. And if there is, say, someone like, mostly I would say that you would have to look to the United States because the party system in Canada just utterly clips every single feather that an MP could have. Because if you're not careful and you step out of line, like, you just get ejected from the party, you lose all support, and the likelihood that you get elected as a independent is extremely low because people are not voting for, even though you technically are. The psychology is you're not voting for the person, you're voting for the party, which, again, is a horrible way to do a representative anything with voting. But, like, I think of, like, the Grocki brothers, which I have a video talking about them, and, like, especially the younger brother. The younger brother, after his older brother got whacked by the Senate, all right, and he came back, he knew it was do or die. He had to win, and if he didn't, he was dead. And he did win, and he tried to ram through the land reforms, and it did not end well for him. But, like, he was willing to take the risk. Like, he could have lived his life in relative comfort out in, the, it would be the provinces, it wouldn't be the colonies. Terminology changes throughout the years. Like, out in the provinces, and, could have had a really good life, could have been nice, comfortable, but instead he chose to fight. And, like, think about that. All right? Like, we've got Pierre here in Canada. What is he actually fighting for? Because, he's saying all the same stuff the conservatives have said, again, for 40 plus years. And it doesn't really resonate with people because it just doesn't work in 100% practice. But he's also, like, there's cheap, easy votes he could go after that he will not go after because, in my opinion, the man is bought and paid for. Like, he's not going to make an attack on holding Big Pharma accountable, which, after the last 5 years, I think everybody who has free and independent thought understands, hey, we need to hold any and all corporations accountable, whether or not they are making medicine or poisons on purpose. Like, do you think of the 30% of people in Canada that did not vote, that you could not at least get 5% by just running anti-pharma, being like, hey, you don't even have to be anti-pharma. You just have to be, we're not going to let them have no repercussions. We're going to hold them to account. If they make something bad that causes harm, we'll go after them like we would anybody else. Or, hey, supply management is, in Canada, driving up the cost of food because the supply is limited. So maybe we remove that or expand it. Hell, you don't even have to remove it. Just meet demand needs to bring the price down for the love of what's good and decent. But like nobody's arguing for that in Canada. Okay? On a mostly related topic, I think of like what Thomas Massey is doing in Congress. The one bill he's put forth is a bill about point of origin for meat, and I think it goes to all ag products too, but I think it's specifically designed for meat, so that you can know what you're eating, and serving to your friends, family, children is coming from, because some of the beef supply you probably don't actually want to consume because it's got what is that worm in South America? Oh God, like it gets exposed to that, and you probably don't want to have to deal with that, because then you got to take, at the very least, you're taking something like an anti-parasitic, which is not fun. I don't think it goes far enough, because I think you should, when you are buying meat, you should know what has been done specifically to the animal that the meat came from. Has it been vaccinated? Has it been fed antibiotics? Has it been fed, or injected, I should say, steroids? Because that's a problem. Has it been injected with hormones? Like, you should know that shit. And where are the people actually moving policies to do that? Like, on the right, okay, most people are going to be for informed consent, all right? You can get a bare minimum of people on the left to vote for that, to pass it, if you're just not insane ideologue and stand behind your crazy party leader. See, like, I think that's, in Canada, the biggest problem, is that the parties control members. Like, you can't have a dissident member in any one of the caucuses come out and be like, okay, what my party's doing is wrong, all right? I need to represent my constituents. They elected me, and they want this legislation to go through. That's why I think the American system, as is, as corrupt and as horribly designed as it is, it can be slightly better. Is just far superior in every way, because you can get in the fighters who are going to make the noise to change policy, all right? And you had politicians that were really slick and good at that. FDR changed policy. Now, he lied his ass off with the New Deal, but he got policy through. Did it help Americans? That is the hard question to answer, because if you look at what America was primed to do at the time, it may have prevented a communist uprising. Like, America was that bad when the New Deal passed, so it may have mollified that over. As bad as FDR is, he may get credit for that. Like, you'd have to really study for that. Or, as horrible as a person as Bill Clinton is, okay, he shrunk the deficit. He balanced the budget. You were running a surplus. Like, and as bad as that is for the greater economy, you could use that to recover a little bit. But look at it now. Now, again, Trump is apparently shrinking the deficit. He apparently shrunk it by 25% with the use of tariffs. Do I believe that? I don't know. Government accounting and trust do not go hand in hand, whether or not I like the guy or not. Like, you just can't trust a government accountant worth a damn. Which, like, if Canada had, or the world had someone who talked a good game like Donald Trump did while he's campaigning, and then even followed through on a quarter of it, damn, we'd be in a great place. Like, I can't believe, specifically here in Ontario, there is not someone smart enough to recognize, hey, the teachers union has a lot of power politically. Okay? It is a net negative for Ontarians. We could break them with school choice if we, had a small education program, talk about it, explain it. Like, parents would buy into it, especially in the neighborhoods I know. Like, parents hate teachers, and it's more, it's beyond the, oh, hey, my kid doesn't like my teacher. It's, hey, these teachers are bad. They know they're bad. They're getting worse. We would like our children to actually learn something instead of being indoctrinated into stupidity. Like, but no, we can't have one person stand up and say, hey, I'm running for so-and-so office. I'd like to bring about school choice. Like, can't have that. Because you have to run with a party unless, you're running for some smaller office, but then you're backed by someone else. Because nobody plays with their own money in Canada. Jeez. Who would do such a thing? It's just, it's so frustrating at this point to be like, especially looking at the Conservatives, all right? They're, right now, all right, as I'm recording this, I am waiting for a drop of the next proposed plans from Carney for the nation building projects. And rumor has it, or by rumor, I mean literally the news is prepping it, that there's going to be a pipeline, which, again, I said that was coming. And it's so fascinating that it's right before the Monday vote. Like, hey, we're going to have an entire weekend news cycle that's going to be about the Liberals pushing a big, beautiful pipeline. If the government collapses on Monday, Pierre will have walked into a great trap and he will not have realized it. Because what are the Liberals going to run on? Hey, look, we started to change our pipeline policies. We've got this great big pipeline that we're gonna get done. It's proposed. We just gotta go through it. But Pierre and his buddies had to collapse the government, so now it's not on the table. Oh man. Like, now can you do something about that? Absolutely. But Pierre and his team couldn't deal with the fact that Trudeau got subbed out, at the last minute. And they had what is it? Was 90 days or something like that? Maybe it was only 60. From Trudeau till whoever was going to win. And they could not come up with a package to deal with, oh, it's likely to be Carney. Like, they're going to cheat. They're going to rig the system. It's going to be Carney. And they just had nothing to do to fight Carney. They didn't even put in the bare minimum effort, in my opinion. So, like, looking at it from the Conservative perspective, it's like, yeah, sure, fine, whatever. You guys are horrible. You can't even defeat a Carney. But then again, Carney trash does fool a whole lot of people. And then, I'll rip on the PPC again. What I have seen out of them after the election, they still don't understand why they lost or how to win. Like, I know a lot of people, or a few people, are really, really behind Maxime Bernier because he's the only politician that stood up, or, well, former politician, was elected. He wasn't elected, to stand up against COVID tyranny in Canada. But did he run on, you know, any rights that Canadians should have that we don't currently have in the last election cycle? Not really. Did he make it that his platform? No. He could have. He would have garnered more votes, even though I know the PPC tried to expand too far, have 338 candidates, and quite a few of them dropped out at the last minute so that the votes don't count. But if you look at the counties, or sorry, not counties, ridings, I'm looking at the states for the midterms. Sorry about that. When you look at the ridings where there were, you didn't have gains. In some cases, you had loss. Like, you barely held on to territory. Like, come on now. When you do that poorly, you have to restructure. And I know for a fact they've done some restructuring, but I don't think they've done enough. I don't think they know how to win. They are trying to win everybody, and in doing so, win nobody. You know? Do I believe the rumors that, hey, the PPC are working with the Liberals? Not really. Does it look it more and more? Yeah, but I think it's purely explainable. They don't know how to win. Plain and simple. Anyways, it's just a frustrating day of reading about politics, and I thought I'd voice my opinion of wanting, heck, you know what? I'd rather have some Machiavellian character, rich guy behind the scenes who sees the problems, start funding initiatives to break through, and maybe even funding some politicians to get some stuff through. Like, heck, why is there not like a Canada First lobbying group in Canada? Real simple. Or America for that matter. Like, I know there's a few in America that have, hey, we're America First. They're not. I mean, like, real deal. Like, people who actually vet shit and be like, no, this is actually a policy and a candidate that would be good for Canada. Like, I'd love an agnostic, non-partisan group of that would go out and be like, okay, this politician has some great ideas. Let's, in this riding, this is the Canada First candidate, or America First, or wherever first. Really, I don't think anybody's really fucking doing that I've been able to find. It's more frustrating for the Americans because they've had a decade of Trump, and Trump can't even get that shit together. Man, what a lazy bastard. 10 years. 10 years. And everything that Trump put together will be erased by executive fiat so far. Just utterly embarrassing. Oh well. Anyways, that's the video for today. One day I'll probably take a look at the nation building projects. Tuesday, maybe we'll be like, see, I told you, an election. Haha. I don't know. Again, I lean towards there will be an election. I don't see how you can get some of these projects that are proposed and get buy-in from like the NDP or the Green Party. Like, the blocks are gone. The block is gone. The Conservatives aren't going to vote for you. Like, you got to... I don't know if you can pick off enough Conservatives. Maybe you can. I think you rather have your own team. Like, your own Liberal guys that you own instead of, people that have betrayed their party cross over because you're not going to trust them. I think, They're politicians. They're not going to trust them anyways. But you'd rather have someone from your own side than someone crossover. So it makes sense for Carney to really push away the NDP and the Greens and not pick off another conservative and actually just pick up a riding in an election instead. It fits your narrative of like, hey, the CPC, they don't even want to stand behind their shit. They're getting on board with Carney. So like you can really ram through some good propaganda. And by good I mean really effective propaganda to win an election that way. So I still think an election is dumb from the Liberals' perspective, but like from their perspective, you're like, the risk could be worth it. It's not, but it could be from their calculation. Anyways, have a good weekend. See you on Monday. Till then, have a good day.